Hi, I'm Chris from Dynojet. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up the gauge screen on your POD-300 digital display for Power Commander 5 and Wideband 2 accessories. I'm also going to show you how to set up the indicator lights at the top of the pod. On the pod, you have 4 gauge screens that you can toggle from using the bottom button on the side. Within each of the 4 gauge screens, you can set up a quad gauge layout, a single gauge layout, or a dual gauge layout. Hit the top button to go into main menu. Once you have gauge view selected, hit the middle button to enter gauge view. Toggle to the gauge screen that you want to set up first and hit the enter button to go into that gauge screen. We'll start with screen 1. At the top, if we select layout, we can choose whether gauge screen 1 is a single, dual, or quad layout. For this example, I'll use a quad. In the quad layout, your upper left gauge, gauge A, currently is set to speed. If we enter into gauge A, we can select 3 different devices that the gauge could come from. It could be an internal channel, it could be a Power Commander 5 channel, or a Wideband 2 channel. I'll toggle to PC5, and here I can see all of the channels that are available for PC5. For this example, I'll choose engine RPM. For gauge B, I might want to see Power Commander 5 coolant temperature. For gauge C, I'll choose throttle position. And for gauge D, I'll show air-fuel ratio from the Wideband 2. Now when I exit out to the main screen and I select gauge screen number 1, I can see it's a quad layout and I can see the 4 channels that I've selected for it. Let's say screen 2, I want to set up just a single gauge. And in that single gauge, I want to see, how about vehicle speed? Now if I toggle to gauge 2, I have a single gauge showing me vehicle speed. I can also set up the alarms. That's these 3 LEDs at the top of the pod. I have a green, a yellow, and a red alarm indicator. From main menu, if I toggle to configure alarms and enter that selection, I can change when the green, orange, or red LED comes on. I have 3 channels that can turn this alarm on. I might say channel 1 can be Power Commander 5 coolant temp. And I want that to come on if coolant temp is less than let's say 100 degrees. So the green light will come on when the coolant temperature is less than 100 degrees. Maybe I'll even set up the red light to come on when the engine gets too hot. So configure alarms, red LED, channel 1, coming from the Power Commander 5, coolant temperature, greater than we'll set it to 250. Now anytime the coolant temp comes above 250, the red LED will illuminate. Let's say, for example, I want to set up my gauge screen 3 to show a single AFR gauge. If I go into main menu, I then toggle to gauge view, hit the middle button to go into gauge view. Now go into screen 3. I want to keep the layout as a single gauge layout. I want to select an air fuel channel. Now if you have the auto tune, whether it be the single channel or the dual channel auto tune, air fuel ratio can be found in the Power Commander 5 list. If you have the wideband 2 or the single channel auto tune, you can find AFR in the wideband 2 device list. The dual channel auto tune AFR signals can only be found in the Power Commander 5 channel list. This bike has a single channel auto tune, so I can find it in either device list, and that's right here. Now when I exit out to the main screen and I toggle to gauge screen number 3, I have a single AFR gauge. So with that, you should have all the information you need to set up the gauges you want for your own particular application. In our next video, I'll show you how to select gauge channels for creating a data log.